Today we're going to have some fun creating invitations in Canva. Now, if you're new to Canva and haven't really used it a whole lot, this is a great tutorial for you. You don't need a whole lot of design experience, and I'm going to be showing you a whole pile of tips along the way. If we're just meeting right now, hi, my name is Nisha. Welcome to Little Craft Nest. After we design our invitation today, I'm going to head over to Cricut Design Space and show you how to print and cut your invitation that you just created. But if you don't have a Cricut machine, you can still print out your invitation at home and hand those out to your friends. So let's get started. We'll be heading over to canva.com, and I am using the Pro subscription version of Canva. You don't have to use a Pro subscription, but you just have so many more options with this subscription service, and I highly recommend it because I use it all the time. So once you're in Canva, you're just going to start searching in the search bar. I just moved to a new house with a pool, so I want to have a pool party. So I'm going to type in summer pool party, and we'll see what comes up. Now, there are piles of designs that you'll see here that other creators have made, and you can change them and make them your own. So maybe you're looking for a certain style. So under style, you can change it to modern or colorful. You can even go down here and do vintage. So let's look at some vintage ones. So here's a bunch of fun ones you can do. So I like searching all of them because sometimes I think I'm in a certain mood. I want something happy and fun. And then I see something else that catches my eye. So search through what's there and then go ahead and make it your own. So I'm really liking this summer pool party invitation right here. I love that there's a pink flamingo in there because we also have a pink flamingo in our pool that our realtor gave to our kids, which is super fun. So I'm going to select this one. And there's some options here if you decide to go ahead and print with Canva and order your invitations through Canva. But I'm usually making invitations last minute, and so I just like to print them myself. So I have them and I'm done with it. So don't worry about any of the options here unless you do plan to print with Canva, and just click on Customize this template. So I'm going to close this sidebar down here. So before I begin to edit this, I actually want to resize it because I don't want a rectangle. I want this to be a square. So we're going to go up to the top and click on Resize, and then click Custom Size. And right now it's sized at 8.5 by 11, which is a full sheet of blank paper. Now that's an awfully large invitation. You obviously don't need to print them that big, but let's size this down a little bit. So I'm going to click on this box right next to the custom size, and then we're going to change it. So I'm going to do a width of 5 and a height of 5, and we have that in inches there. And then go down to the bottom and click Resize this design. So here's our original rectangle design on the top here, page 1. And then if you scroll down to page 2, we've got our 5 by 5 over here. So I'm actually going to delete this top page by clicking on Delete Page. And then I'm going to work with this image here. You'll notice some of the images on this invitation have been resized or slightly moved and doesn't quite look the same. So we're going to change it up a bit. So I really like this flamingo. I want him to be big, so I'm going to stretch him out. I'm not having free drinks at my party, so I'm deleting that. And I'm just going to stretch some of these images. You can move some of the palm branches around. If there's too many, you can delete them. If you want more, you can duplicate them. So to do that, you would click on an image. You can click the garbage can to delete it, or right beside it, you can click on Duplicate. And then you can even change the angle of that palm branch and have them going out like this. I'm going to change this wood dock area to stretch out over the whole page here and stretch this piece out as well. And then you can just play around with the position of everything. You'll also want to change the information here of where and when your party is. And you probably don't want a website on a personal invitation. So I'm just gonna go ahead, click that text box and click on Delete on my keyboard. Now, let's say I wanted pink lettering instead of green. What we can do is go up to the top, click on Text Color, and we can change that to pink. But I want the same color pink that I see in the flamingo. So we can go over to Photo Colors and then click on See All. And you can see the pink flamingo here right at the bottom. I'm going to choose that dark crimson color. And now the outline turned to pink. But you're probably wondering, the inside is still green. That's because an effect has been added to this text. So if you want to change that out, you could go up to Effects, and you can see it's using the splice effect. And then it has the color over here, which is the green. So you can go ahead and change that green color. So we can even click on the color wheel over here, and let's do a light pink. So let's bring this dot over to the pinks, and we can make it light. And then we can also change a little bit more of the effect. Maybe you wanted a thicker outline. So underneath the splice option, we have thickness. So we can drag our dial up and we can make that a little more thick. So I've dragged that up to 80. Now I want to do the same thing for the word party. Rather than doing all those steps again that we just did to change the color and the outline for this first text, so what you can do, click on the word pool, then click those 3 little dots above it, and we're going to click on copy style. Now we're going to click on the word party, and it will change the word party to the same style we just did for pool. Now that made this text a little bigger. So if you wanted it to be smaller, we could make the text smaller over here. And now we have all the letters on the same line. So I'm just going to move a few objects around here. You can also change the color of your objects. Let's say you wanted pink flip-flops. You can go up to the top. You can see this image has 4 different colors. You can click on each of those colors and change those individually. And the recent colors you used will be right at the top. So you can go ahead and use a color you just used somewhere else, and that will show up there. Another fun thing that you can do is, let's say you wanted this leaf to be on top of this popsicle stick floaty. You could go up to Position, go over to Layers, and then you can find that layer, which is down here. It's highlighted because we have it selected. And if you go up here, you can see the floaty layer. So you can grab that leaf and then just drag it all the way up to the top. We can put it on top of that floaty, and now the leaf is on top. So you can go ahead and play around with those layers as well. Just have fun, be creative, change colors, change positions. You can also add your own images. So you could go over to Elements, type in something like pool, toys, and then under graphics, click see all. And there are so many other things here you could add to your invitation. So once you're happy with your invitation, we need to share this invitation with others. So let's go over to share, and then we're going to click on download, and then click on download again. And once your file is downloaded, it'll probably pop up on your computer. If not, look in your downloads folder. So here's our invitation ready to go. So if you're using an iMac computer, you can easily share this. You could airdrop it to yourself or someone else. You could text this to a friend, invite everyone you want, or you could also go up to File and click on Print, and then just use a paper cutter to cut it out. But what I'm going to do today is upload this design that we just created to Cricut Design Space, because I want my Cricut to cut this out instead of me. My Cricut does such a better job at this. So I'm going to open up Cricut Design Space. I'm going to start a new project, and I want a blank canvas. Go over to Upload, Upload Image, and then you can either search for your file or drag and drop it. Then click Continue. You don't need to do anything here, so we're going to click Apply and Continue. And we're going to save this as a flat graphic and click Continue. You can give your image a name if you want. You can add some tags and then click on Upload. Now, when you upload this, the size has changed a little, so we need to resize this. So go up to the top of Design Space, keep that lock on lock, and we're just going to change this to a width of 5, and that will also change our height to 5. So that's the size we want. And then we can go ahead and click on Make. Now let's see if we can get 2 of these on one page. So I'm going to go up to Project Copies. We can go up to 2 and click Apply. And you can see here, it did not put both of our invitations on one page. We have 2 separate pages. So let's see if I can do some rearranging here. So this is kind of slightly too big to get two on here. So what I'm going to do is click on cancel. We're going to make our invitation slightly smaller. Let's try 4.7 inches and then click make. Let's see if we can get two on one page now. So project copies to apply, and look, it looks like this will fit right here. Even though design space, put the invitations on separate pages. Let's see if I can move the second one onto the first page. So I've clicked on the second mat here, and we're going to click on those three dots above the invitation and click on move object, and then click on the first mat and click confirm. So now both of our invitations here are on the first page, but they're overlapping. We don't want that. So I'm going to scooch this one down here, move this one over here, and look, we're able to get both invitations on the same mat. So this is going to save us some paper. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on continue. Now today I'm going to be printing this on just regular cardstock. I do have some printable photo paper, but the photo paper I have is relatively thin. So if you'd like to make this invitation glossy, make sure the photo paper that you have is thicker, almost like a printable cardstock, so that you can get that glossy look. I'm going to do something else because I like using materials I already have without having to go out and buy other materials. So I'm first going to print this out on cardstock and then add some laminate over top to make my invitations a little shiny. So let's click on send to printer. I'm using an Epson EcoTime printer for this. I'm going to use the bleed. I'm going to keep that toggle on. So basically what that does is extend the color from your invitation out a little bit, so that if your calibration of your machine is just slightly off, you're not going to end up with a white line around your invitation. And always use your system dialog. So let's turn that on and click on print. Our system dialog box has popped up. If you don't see it popped up, it's probably because you're not using design space in full screen, which means your print box will probably pop up behind your design space application. So once you have this box, we're going to go over to media and quality, and I'm going to change the quality from normal to best. Now, if you are using glossy paper under media type, you can choose photo high gloss paper, but I'm just using regular old cardstock, so I could select plain paper or just leave the auto select on. Now, your options may be a little different if you're using a different printer than what I'm using. So I'm going to load my cardstock into my printer and then click on print. So here's our invitations all printed out. You don't have to laminate these if you don't want to, but I am going to use a self-laminating sheet right here. It's slightly bigger than my page, so I'm just going to trim it down just a little bit. Then we can take a weeding pen and peel the back corner of our self-laminating sheet and just fold that corner back, put a nice crease there. And then what I like to do is start at the bottom, get that lined up. I accidentally wrinkled the bottom here, but that's okay. We're gonna make sure that's on straight, push down that top sticky corner that we made, and then grab a squeegee for the top, and you're gonna flip this over and grab that little tab that you made, and pull that tab and push that laminating sheet down at the same time. And then we can grab our invitations and put them on a Cricut mat. Now make sure that little arrow on the top left-hand corner is on the top left-hand side of your mat. And then you can take a brayer and make sure it is secured on your mat really well. Then we're gonna go back on our computer and click on Browse All Materials. And the third option here is corrugated cardboard, and that's what I'm going to use because I use the laminate sheet over top of my cardstock. If you just use plain cardstock, you could select medium cardstock or heavy cardstock, whatever you decided to use. And then click on done. And then you can load your mat into your machine, press start, and then your Cricut will start by scanning those registration corners and then proceed to cut out your invitations. And then we can peel our invitations off our mat once our Cricut has finished cutting them out. And let's see how cute these turned out. Oh, they look so good. And I love the glossy look on them. It just makes them look more professional. So again, you could use photo gloss paper or put a laminating sheet on top of paper and you'll have the same look. I hope you have fun making these super cute pool party invitations. For more Canva tutorials, go check out this playlist right here. And I hope to see you on more crafting adventures.